Alright, picture this, my friends. Imagine you're stepping onto a battlefield. You've got an army, but it's far from perfect. It's got its flaws, but it's also got its strengths. You're looking at a massive wall of archers, but your enemy? They've got heavy cavalry, charging horses, knights in armor, the whole 9 yards. They've got that rush power, that momentum. So, let me drop a philosophical question on you. Is a smart leader the one who sits there crying over his lack of horses? Does he complain that he can't charge like the other guy? Does he waste time whining, "Man, our army is trash because we don't have knights"? Or does he ask the smarter question, the one I want you to really feel right now? He asks, where do I put my archers? How do I get them to the highest ground? How do I make the terrain work for me? How do I flip what I actually have into a winning advantage? The core philosophy, that's where the philosophy of this video kicks in. A dumb leader goes to war obsessed with what he's missing. But a genius leader? He goes to war obsessed with every single advantage he does have. And look, I'm not just talking about ancient warfare here. This is a life rule. I've noticed most people live their lives completely backward. They spend all their energy trying to fix their flaws, trying to patch up their weaknesses. Now, there's nothing wrong with self-improvement, but the problem is they're leaving their winning card on the table. They're ignoring the one thing that actually gives them an edge over everyone else. Real-world examples, you see people spend years trying to fix themselves while letting their core strengths rot. Take a guy who's naturally handsome, has that it factor, and can command a room just by walking in. Instead of leaning into that and turning it into opportunities, he spends his whole life trying to be seen as some deep, tortured philosopher. Feels fake. It is fake. On the flip side, you've got someone who might not be a 10 in the looks department, but they've got insane charisma. They've got the gift of gab. Articulate, sharp, knows exactly what to say. But instead of sharpening that weapon and becoming a powerhouse of influence, they waste their life trying to change their face or their style just to fit some mold. That's how the internal war starts. People fail to hit their goals, not because they're weak or lacking, but because they won't put themselves in a position of power. They won't step onto the ground where they have a 2-step lead on the competition. The trap of wanting what we don't have. Human nature is weird. We always crave what we don't have. We think the secret sauce to success is hidden in our weaknesses. The quiet guy wishes he was the life of the party. The social butterfly wishes they were mysterious. The broke guy thinks money solves every single internal problem. The rich guy realizes money doesn't fill the void in his soul. The single person thinks marriage is the ultimate escape, and the married person is looking back thinking, what did I do? It's an endless loop of regret. We think the problem is the missing piece or the path we didn't take. But the real move isn't avoiding your flaws. It's discovering your natural edge and being unapologetically yourself. Nature and instinct. I believe everyone is born with a cheat code, but most people never find it. There's a huge difference between developing yourself and betraying your nature. If you force a tiger to swim, he's gonna struggle. If you drag a fish onto the grass, it's game over. But in their own elements, they are the kings of their worlds. Yes, there are flaws you need to discipline. You've got to be hard on yourself sometimes. There are gaps you need to fill. But if your whole life is just a repair shop for your flaws, you'll never actually drive the car. Real power and dominance come from what's right in front of your eyes. The secret to being bold. There's a famous American saying I love. Fortune favors the bold. Wealth and success love a person who's confident. And you can't be truly bold until you're comfortable in your own skin. When you embrace your natural strengths, you look like you belong there. You become the missing piece of the puzzle that people have been waiting for. How to find your edge? So, you're probably asking, Abdullah, how do I find my thing? Here's the trick. Most of us think our gift is the thing we brag about. But usually people brag about what they lack. The person with the annoying voice is usually the one singing the loudest because they're desperate for validation. The person with a naturally fit body just walks normally, no flexing needed. To find your edge, look for what you do involuntarily. What do you do without even thinking? What feels like a natural extension of who you are? Listen to the people around you. There's a saying in Islam, the believer is the mirror of his brother. What do people constantly compliment you on? Is it your look? Is it the way you talk? Do you find yourself in leadership roles without even asking for them? I know people at work who get promoted to leadership without ever requesting it. It's just who they are. Everyone feels it. Pay attention to where you shine without trying. My personal story. Let me give you a quick story about my start in content creation. I've been posting since the COVID days around 2019. Back then, I was doing gaming content. And honestly, nobody cared. The numbers were flat. But I was stubborn. I kept pushing, thinking, I have to make this work. That was childish thinking. Maturity is realizing that just because you want something doesn't mean it's your path. Sometimes what's waiting for you is better than what you're wishing for. 5 months ago, I made a radical shift. People always told me I was great at public speaking, great at explaining complex ideas, and engaging to listen to. I realized that was my high ground. Why was I trying to be a knight in the gaming world when I was a master archer in communication? The moment I leaned into my natural strength, everything changed. Closing thoughts. When you understand your own patterns and lean into where you shine effortlessly, you become extraordinary. Things that take others years of planning and stress, you do in a heartbeat because it's just you. Back to the war. If you don't have horses, don't try to be a knight. Get your archers to the hill and start the game. If you're handsome, use that presence. If you're silver-tongued, speak. If you're a genius, think outside the box. Success isn't about becoming someone else. It's about diving deep into who you already are. Analyze your tools without bias. Stop looking at what's missing. Life is a game. These are the rules. These are your stats. Work them. The world doesn't need a second-rate version of someone else. It needs a high-def, focused, real version of you. So, I'll leave you with this. If you walked into that war today, what would be your real weapon? Once you have that answer, go all in. Peace, and I hope you crush your dreams.